The Seattle Seahawks enter the 2026 season as the reigning champions. Their 2025 Super Bowl victory established a performance standard that the rest of the league is now forced to chase. Their playoff run was defined by defensive efficiency. In a critical divisional matchup, they held the San Francisco 49ers without a single touchdown. But the history of the NFL shows how difficult it is to sustain that level. Every opponent on the 2026 schedule has spent the offseason specifically designing schemes to dismantle the Seattle roster. The first test arrives immediately. The season begins with a Super Bowl rematch against the New England Patriots, a game that will serve as an early indicator of Seattle's true retention of their championship form. Predicting whether they can repeat requires looking at three variables within the team's composition: defensive stability, offensive volatility, and the difficulty of their new schedule. Calculating their championship probability means weighing the key assets they retained against the high-value coaching and personnel departures. Surviving the pressure of a title defense is a matter of mathematics. It is the balance between a stabilized defensive scheme and the risk introduced by massive coaching turnover. Variable A is the foundation of the roster. Head coach Mike Macdonald has established a defensive structure centered on personnel continuity. Macdonald's system is widely studied across the league. It requires defensive ends to prioritize edge containment against the run, allowing the interior line to use stunts and twists to generate pressure on the quarterback. Seattle enters 2026 with a rare statistical advantage, returning 10 out of 11 starters from their Super Bowl-winning defensive unit. The unit is anchored by high-ceiling talent. Devin Witherspoon provides lockdown coverage on the perimeter, while Nick Emenwari offers the flexibility to play multiple roles across the secondary. To address the loss of cornerback Reek Woolen, the front office drafted 4 defensive backs. This includes Bud Clark, a ball hawk who recorded 15 interceptions during his collegiate career. This level of personnel retention provides a defensive floor that historically protects teams against the high variance of an NFL season. Variable B presents the primary risk to the algorithm. Unlike the defense, the offense is undergoing a total reconstruction of its backfield and coaching staff. The depth of the running back room has been depleted, starting with the departure of Kenneth Walker III. With Zach Charbonnet still recovering from an ACL tear, the team must now rely on rookie Jerian Price to handle the majority of the carries starting in Week 1. The loss of offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak introduces a structural risk to the scoring system. Kubiak was highly praised for the specific game plans that drove their championship run. His replacement, Brian Fleury, arrives from San Francisco with no prior experience as an NFL play caller, creating a significant unknown for the offensive unit. This creates a volatile situation. If the new scheme fails to mesh with the personnel, the offense could struggle to match the elite output of the defense. Variable C is the stabilizing force, quarterback Sam Darnold. His role is to maintain offensive consistency despite the changes in leadership and the backfield. Darnold's career has leveled into a stable plateau, recording back-to-back seasons with 14 wins. Success in 2026 requires hitting a specific baseline, 28 to 35 touchdowns, keeping interceptions between 10 and 15. To reach those numbers, he relies on Jackson Smith-Njigba. As the league's reigning leader in receiving yards, Smith-Njigba provides the reliable timing needed to keep the offense afloat. Darnold does not need to produce an MVP-caliber season. He simply needs to hit this statistical baseline to allow the defense to secure wins. The final modifier in the calculation is the schedule. As the reigning division winners, Seattle is now subject to the number 1 seed tax. Their reward for a championship is a schedule that forces them into a gauntlet against other first-place teams. This path includes mandatory matchups against aggressive rosters like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Chicago Bears, making it harder to string together a long winning streak. By processing the defensive continuity, the offensive turnover, the Darnold baseline, and the increased schedule difficulty, we arrive at the final projection. The algorithm projects a season of 11 to 14 wins for the Seahawks. This range secures a dominant playoff berth and keeps them in a position to defend their title in the postseason. Seattle possesses the defensive floor and the quarterback stability to reach the playoffs, but their ultimate ceiling as back-to-back champions relies entirely on how quickly their unproven play caller can adapt to the pressure of the gauntlet.